Hello everyone and welcome back to the Kaiju Corner. Today we will be hosting the season finale for the end of the first season of the Kaiju Codex. And to sort of explain what everyone is looking at here, I have gone onto the website Roll20 and I have created sort of a bracket tournament, and what will be happening is we will have multiple rounds of single elimination combat between all the different contestants of the Codex. I have gone through and randomly paired them all up, and we will use a highly scientific process to determine the winner. That highly scientific process is rolling dice. Just like any Dungeons & Dragons nerd is familiar with, it gives a chance of probability, even though some of the odds may be tipped more in the favor of others. The way this will work is, for those who remember, each of the Kaiju contestants was given a power rank scale. That power ranking was listed as the letters F, D, C, B, A, and S. F being the worst or the lowest power tier bracket, and S being the highest tier. And so each letter will be given a certain sided die. The lower the letter, the smaller the die. The bigger the letter, the bigger the die. So those of F tier will be rolling a D4, D tier roll a D6, C tier a D8, B tier a D10, A tier a D12, and S tier a D20. Rolling a die gives a little bit of randomness to the battle, as a F tier could best an S tier in combat, though it is not likely. But I guess without any further ado, we can get right into our first encounter. Which, first up to the bat, is the magnetic monster and the purple worm. Magnetic monster is a C tier, while the purple worm is a D tier. And so we'll just go from top to bottom. So magnetic monster will roll first, and then the purple worm will roll first. Ooh. And it seems there is a little bit of struggling going on, as both of them rolled a 3. And so that ends in a tie. And since there is no victor, the fight will continue to rage on. So once again, boop and boop. And even though the fight seemed tied at first, it looks like the purple worm is the one who comes out victorious and will move on to the next round. So yeah, winner of the first round goes to the purple worm. We'll move on to round number 2, which is Tyranitar versus the Omukade. Once again, it is a C tier versus a D tier. Tyranitar going first. Ooh. And another startling upset, it is the Omokade, the lower tier Kaiju, which takes victory. So far, these two contestants are putting in work for the lower tier monsters, claiming victory over higher tiered Kaiju. Next, we have Devil Dinosaur versus Frankenstein. So far, it's not looking good for Devil Dinosaur, as lower tier creatures keep beating the higher tier. Devil Dinosaur comes in as a B list, while Frankenstein is a D list. And so Devil Dinosaur rolls and Frankenstein rolls. And it looks like Frankenstein did not have a chance of winning at all, as Devil Dinosaur maxes out his roll with a 10 on a 10-sided die, claiming victory and moving on to the next round. And the last in this row, we have the Giant Claw versus the Giant Gila monster. Here we have a very stark difference. The Giant Claw being an A list, while the Giant Gila monster being an F list. And so they roll for their power, and the Giant Claw takes victory. Swooping in, overpowering the ground-bound lizard. And now we go to the next row. Here we have Ogre versus Chaos. And Ogre, just a tier higher, being a B list versus a C list. Ooh. And much like the very first round, they tie with a pair of 3s. Not looking good for Ogre, who comes in with a startling upset, maxing out with a 10 on her roll, claiming victory over the Simian. Almost like a budget Godzilla versus King Kong, if you will. Next, it seems we have the Battle of the Constructs. Here we have Mecha Kong versus Talos. Talos seems to have the advantage, being an A list versus a C list, but we will see how it goes. Mecha Kong rolls first, and then Talos. Oh wow! A lot of tying going on in this tournament, as both of these individuals tie with a pair of 5s. So they will proceed to roll again. Ooh. It looked like Mecha Kong might take it with a 7, but Talos comes in with a 10, claiming victory over the robotic monkey. We move on to the next round, which once again has quite the power difference, where we have Defender X, a S tier Kaiju, versus Maguma, who is an F tier. So this should be an easy victory for Defender X. And it looks like he will walk away pretty easily from this fight with a 12 versus a 3. And the last set of contestants in the first, series of rounds, we have Girion versus Jormungandr. A pretty similar fight to the one that just happened. Girion will go first, rolling his D8, and Jormungandr will roll his D20. Girion looks like he could have an advantage, maxing out his roll, but Jormungandr very easily triumphs with a 14, easily crushing the sword-like Kaiju. And now we will go to the first of round 2s. In a worm off, we have the Purple Worm versus Omokade. And so Purple Worm rolls first. Oh, it seems I have placed the 2 worms in the same power bracket. Ooh. Purple Worm looks like he might not make it to the 3rd round, rolling a 1 on his die. And Omokade rolls a 5, taking victory from his rival. Now we move on to Devil Dinosaur versus the Giant Claw. This will be a much closer fight than what they've had so far, but let's see how it goes. Devil Dinosaur does not look like he will be walking away from this fight, rolling a 2. Oh, but the Giant Claw also also matches him with a 2. You just never know what's going to happen with these fights. We've been having a lot of pairing, a lot of intense fighting between contestants. And so they move on. Devil Dinosaur looks like he could take it. And once again, they pair with a set of 9s. This fight rolling on longer than any fight so far. Oof. And after 3 rounds of intense fighting, the Giant Claw finally claims victory over the Devil Dinosaur. Next, we move on to Ogre versus Talos. Ooh, Ogre maxes out her roll with a 10, and Talos responds with a pitiful 3, getting easily bested by this knockoff Godzilla. And here we have what may be the most intense fight so far. Our 2 S-list Kaiju facing off against each other. Jormungandr and Defender X. Defender X comes in with a powerful 17, and Jormungandr rolls in with a pitiful 5. Defender X easily besting this massive serpent with his advanced weaponry and mechanics. And now we move on to the 3rd series of rounds. Up here at the top we have Omokade versus Ogre. It looks like Omokade might not make it, being a D list versus a B list, but you never know. He comes in with a 4. Oh, and Ogre barely makes it with a 5. Moving on to the final round. And here we have what could be another tough challenge for Defender X, the Giant Claw. The Giant Claw makes a powerful boast, maxing out his roll with a 12. But once again, Defender X easily sweeps the fight with a 17. Moving on to have claim at being the winning contestant. It doesn't look like the fight will go into Ogre's favor, but you never know. And so she starts off this final round with a 4. It really doesn't look good for her, as Defender X comes in with a 13 and bests Ogre. And so the winner of the Season 1 finale of the Kaiju Codex is Defender X. Well, I want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this video, either at the premiere or watching it afterwards, and thank you for making it this far to the end. I appreciate everyone who subscribes and stays for my content. And if you enjoyed the first season of the Kaiju Codex, the second one should be underway soon. I have the roster completely picked out, so I just need to start writing and recording for those episodes. But it shouldn't be too much longer until Season 2 kicks off. Until then, I will try to put out various other little videos as I've been doing. And I just want to say thanks again for everyone who watched my content. We will be soon hitting 100 subscribers if growth continues to go at this rate. I don't know what I will do to celebrate, but I'll think of something. And yeah, just want to continue to thank everyone who tunes in to watch my videos. I hope you enjoy this content. I hope you enjoy future content. So stick around, stay tuned, and as always, see you later.